Hey, we're going to get started with just sitting cross-legged on your mat. And take a nice deep breath in and exhale all the air out. And take a breath in and exhale all the air out. And as you take these inhales and exhales, you're just letting out the air, but you're also letting out tension. So trying not to collapse under the exhale. And see if you can just take that inhale, expand your ribs open, and then exhale, just relax into yourself a bit. And one more time, breathing in and exhaling out. Now we're just going to, let's come into a side bend. Slide your hand to the side, reach your arm overhead, and keep pulling that arm far, far, far away from you. And then press the floor gently with your bottom hand. Bring your hand down and stretch over to the side. Head dropping over and coming up. And leaning over, reach the arm up and stretch out. And coming up. And side bend over, reach with the elbow pressed down, turn your head, and coming up. And one more time, each side. Just try to feel your ribs pull away from your hips. And coming back. And one more time, side. And coming up. And we're just going to sit sideways and come on your back. You can slowly roll yourself back to the mat. And you're going to plant your feet and just relax the shoulders back. Let your eye gaze go to the ceiling. And I'm just going to pull up my shirt a bit so you can see what's happening with my hips and pelvis. You're going to come into your breathing. Take your hands to your rib cage and really find the side ribs and breathe into your upper back. And upper back, don't think all the way up near your neck or the top of your shoulder blades. I want you to think, maybe it's not your lower upper back, but your mid back, this band of the rib cage. And you're going to try not to arch the back when you inhale. You're going to feel like you're just trying to press back into the floor with the back edge of your rib cage. And then place your hands on your abdominals and pull the abdominals in. And hands to the ribs, breathe in. Try and feel the rib cage inflates, and then hand to the abdominals. Exhale, release. Hands to the rib cage, breathing in. Hands to the abdominals, exhale, pull in. And one more time. Inhale, side ribs. Not this part, not the bottom rib edge, ridge of the rib cage, but you're trying to really breathe into the side ribs. And then exhale, navel pulls in. And try and keep that gentle pulling in of the abdominals. Bring your hands to your hip bones, and you keep pulling the navel in until you recruit your low abdominals and your lower back is flattening into the floor. You might have to kind of adjust your upper body a bit. And then on the inhale, you're coming back and you're going to arch your lower back away from the floor. My bum is tilting, my pelvis is tilting. And then pull up the low abdominal and feel your hip bones pull towards your rib cage. And inhale, arch the back, hollow your back. And just keep that going a few more times. So as you're doing that, just remember the concept of the pelvic clock. As if we took a clock off the wall and placed it on the low belly. And that's where the navel is representing the 12 o'clock point. And as you pull your navel in, you're printing your lower back. So that's your 12 o'clock. And then the 6 o'clock is your pubic bone. So you're tilting the pelvis, spinning it the other direction. And your 6 o'clock, the pubic bone is pointing down to the floor through the legs. And you're trying not to let the rib cage, the upper back, meaning from the waist up, arch and curl with the pelvis. And scoop, pulling in the belly, flattening. And you may not have a flat belly, but you're trying to just make it a little flatter in that direction. And arching back. Now let's come to the neutral pelvis, and that's that point where the 3 points are even, as if they're even as if you were carrying a little tray on your pelvis. And now this tray of drinks, we're going to spill it to the left. So my left hip is going to dip down onto the floor more, and it will raise up the right hip when I do that. And then we're going to spill the tray of drinks to the right. And these 2 points, right hip, left hip. Left hip is your 3 o'clock on your clock, and right hip is your 9 o'clock. I always get it confused. I have to really think about it every time. And I'm just spilling that tray of drinks. We've got a lot of images going on. We've got the clock, we've got the tray of drinks, and tilt. And tilt to the other side. Just as you do this, let's just do a couple more. Check in with your legs. You don't want the legs falling right and left. They're not in a windshield wiper type way. They're actually shifting forward and back. So when I tip to my 3 o'clock, my left hip, my drink spilling left, the left hip is pulling straight back into the hip. It hasn't fallen to the side. And then when I rotate over to the other side, spilling the drinks, 9 o'clock hip, my right knee is pulling straight in. It's not falling side. And my left knee, what's happening there, it's sliding forward a bit and come back in the center. Now we're going to fill in all the numbers on this clock. So forget all your drinks. You can have a drink after class. You're going to come into your imprint, 12 o'clock, and I'm going to fill in the numbers between 3 o'clock, between 12 and 3. So I'm going to find 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock, 11, and 12. So we should be back in that imprint position. And just try 4 more rotations there. So basically you're circling the pelvis around. And as I do it, I am creating a pull, trying to pull my abdominals flat across the front of the pelvis area as I move. So I'm not allowing the belly to push forward as I go into the hollow back. So that's my round belly moment. I'm going to try to bring that in. And one more time. And finish with the 12 o'clock. Find your imprint and reverse. We're going to go around to the right hip, circle down to the 6 o'clock, the hollow back, circle around to the left hip, come around to your 12 o'clock, and try 3 more. It's not always a smooth action. It's also not always a smooth talking, as you've noticed. And circle. We've got our 2 more. We're in our 2 more. Circle and around. Come to the lower back. And last time, circle and hollow and left. Now you're coming to your imprint, and we're going to activate a bit more through the legs. I'm going to curl under as much as I can. And at this point, I'm actually not too much in my glutes. I'm trying not to squeeze them here. I'm trying to pull from my low internal obliques here. And now I'm going to press into my feet. And as my hips rise up, the back of the leg, the glutes will start to engage more and more and more as I get to the top. And especially if I want to get up higher, I'm going to have to engage the glutes even more. And then I'm going to curl down. And if you want to add that lift and press, try and take the work in the back of the leg. It's we have a tightness, we often are tight in these connections here, so we get stuck in this posterior tilt, in this tucked under position, and we let the spine take over and push the back up. So we're not going to let that happen. We want the back almost to be almost resting, and the legs are pressing, 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 and then roll down through your back. And let's just do 2 more. So if you're used to being, like if you're super fit, squeeze your muscles, really push it type person, or that's your physical experience, this will feel much like almost you're not doing anything. So we're looking for that internal connection, not, of course, not trying to find the big muscles. They have to help us along, of course. But, and then the glutes here, to get higher, if I want to get higher, I'm actually going to push from here, not from this part up. This is going to pull in. I'm going to keep trying to pull that flatter. I'm going to press from my low glutes. You might feel some squeezing right around those sitting bones in your hamstrings, some work. That's awesome. That's where you want it. And coming down. So now let's keep the neutral pelvis again. We're just going to work on a bit of pelvic stability. And then when you exhale, you want to feel that pulling up. It's going to be maybe a different feeling in your scoop. Instead of just flattening, a pulling in and a bit more up. And now exhaling, reaching your right leg up. Very small movement. Now just hold it steady. Put a little work into your left leg. Very gentle kind of connections there. And tap your right foot down. And I say gentle, but it really, everything is relative. Maybe you might have to work really hard to keep this stability in the pelvis and not let it be shifted by this leg movement. And even though I'm not moving, I'm working really hard to stay still on this left side. So I'm not rotating or dropping into, remember our clock, dropping into that 9 o'clock, trying to keep the clock level with the floor. So my hands are there just so I can use them to feel. But if you feel you've got your internal connections and awareness going, let your hands just be on the floor. Let's change to the other side. I'm going to put a little weight into my right leg so I can feel maybe a slight tension, chain of tension from my heel into my glute. And I'm going to try to find my inner pelvic muscles that are pulling in and up, and a bit of oblique. But if you don't, if you're like, I don't know where my oblique is, I don't know what you're talking about, don't even worry about that. I'm just trying to find the side muscles. You don't have to know the names, just try to feel something going on your opposite side. And maybe you are strong enough you don't feel much happening. If nothing's happening, like there's no tension, squeezing, that's fine too. So if it's staying still and you're not rocking to one side, you're doing it right. 2. And last one. Now let's keep the left knee into your chest and let your lower back flatten in the floor and bring your right leg up. So we're going to hold both legs up, use the weight of your legs to flatten your back, and then hover your legs up higher. And feel that nice flat back and draw your abs in a bit more. Bring your hands to the mat. So we're aiming for tabletop, and that's going to be a bit more here. However, that might create too much load on your abdomen, so it's fine to bring the knees a bit in. And work, notice your knees are here. Let's take a moment here, actually put the hands on your abdominal wall. Exhale, lift your legs a little further away. And hopefully you should feel those muscles tightening up a bit, but not pushing out and your back hollowing. If that's happening, you got to come back. So let's keep not quite table, because we want to challenge, but we don't want to overload, because our leg is going to go to the floor, right leg, and come up. And you'll feel some tensions, some engagements into your abs, I hope. But the moment you feel a bulging, meaning to create that movement, you're going to pause and not go any further. But if it's all going well, we're taking the foot all the way down to the floor and up. And I like to use my exhale on the way down and back. But if your breathing happens to reverse and you're doing a really good job of keeping this together, I really don't mind. You should trust your own body and listen to it. Not give in to it, but trust it. And if it's, sometimes we take these tirednesses, these aches and pains as a sign to not use our body. And often it's a sign of your body talking to you, these aches and pains, saying we need to get going more. And back. And tap. Back, one more each side. This is hard work. I'm feeling my back muscles working, my lower abdominals are working. It doesn't look like much. Whew. And then take that in. Now we're going to try those toe taps from our bridge. So place your feet on the floor, close your legs, and then just step them a tiny bit apart. So you should be able to see that your feet are not as wide as your mat. Unless your hips are as wide as your mat, then that's hip width. But I'm going to try and take that more sitting bone width. So I find my sitting bones down here, and my heels are going to try to line up. We're just always doing our best. And then back. Now press with your arms, tuck your tail, and roll your hips up. Now stand strong in your legs. Don't push your chest up. Push your hips up. Lift your right foot and take your 5 toe taps here. 1, 2, 3, 4, last one, 5. Lift one more time, and now press your foot down. Now even with our best intentions, our hips have fallen a bit, so press back up, get to the top again, and lift the left leg, and tap. What's that saying? Fall down 7, get up 8. And this is our 8th, get up, get it up. And then we'll fall down 9, but we'll get up 10, and down, and up 2 more, 2, and last one, down, rise up, and give a little more push into that right leg before you bring your left foot down, and then even out again, and roll through your back. Now as you roll down, this is a really good opportunity to find your scoop, deepen your scoop, and try and feel that nice hollow aspect of the low belly as you come down, and release. Just talking about hollow bellies, generally if you're standing, gravity's pulling on you in a different way. If you have organs, if you eat food, I hope we all do that, and we all have organs, your belly will not be hollow. That's not a normal state of being, just so you know. So this position is a great position to try and find it, because gravity is working with you. And as soon as I come up to sitting, no more hollow belly, and I'm okay with that. This will change. Time of the day, how much you ate, drink, even if you have water, something, it's not always related to if your stomach is forward or back, it's not always due to calories. If I drink a lot of water, it will also expand through here. So don't stress too much about this area. We want to train it, we want to use it, but it will change shape even throughout the day. Where are we at next? There's my rant of the day. Let's come over to the hands and knees. And you're going to stay on the hands and knees and come into your cat back. Let me just tuck this in so we can find this. So we're pulled up here. It's a very attractive look. And come on the hands and knees. Here we go. So I want you to breathe in, and we're actually going to take a belly breath and let the belly go forward. And then exhale, pull the navel back and in. So we are going to stretch out the abdominal wall. I know it sounds shocking, but we are going to do it because we want the tissue to be responsive. And it's okay, often with these things, it can be very tight. So breathing in and taking a belly breath is good. And then exhale, bringing it up. Also good. Try 2 more. You can notice my back isn't changing. I'm really trying to go into this area. Inhaling and exhaling. I'm going to change the breathing into the upper back. Breathing into my upper back. And exhaling, pulling the abdominals a bit more, pulling in the navel. Even drawing the inner thighs a little closer together. Inhale, expand. And if you can find your side ribs, you're expanding. Maybe you're even breathing into your lower back and trying to feel the sacrum is expanding side to side. The edges of your pelvis are widening. And then exhale, narrow it again. Pull the inner thighs a bit closer, the waist in. So you're bringing the outside edges of your body into your midline with that exhale and pulling from here. One more time, breathing in. And exhale, pull. And I'm sorry if you think you're might be looking and saying, what is she doing? She's not doing anything. Because a lot of this is very internal. I'm trying to do it inside my body. And here we go. On the exhale, draw the navel in. But now you're going to see something. Here's the cat back, rounding your spine. And inhaling, arching the back. And exhaling, rounding the spine. And I want you to try to really work on the lower back, tucking under, pulling up here as much as you can, not pushing with your arms too much in this position, and then reversing the curve, looking up. And one more time, exhale, round, round, round. And inhale, looking up, up, up. Now center yourself, make it nice and long back. This is going to be a bit more to the flat back, so making sure it's not hollow. And picking up your leg, and you're going to lift it to the back behind you, and opening side and down to the floor. Trying to minimize the shifting to the side. And if your left leg is up, you're going to put more weight into your left hand. So you're not leaning over to the right. And up, and side, and down. I'm going to do about 5 times. And it's very easy to let gravity take our head down. So you're going to keep your head just a tiny bit up. So the muscles along the upper back are gently active too. And last one, around and up. Reverse your direction, take it side, and up and back, and down, and 2, and around, and down. And then 3, and 4, and one more 5. And just take a moment to bring the legs down, shift back if you need a child's pose, just to take the weight out of the wrists, and lay your fingers out, squeeze your mat, try and pinch your mat with your fingertips, and then come up. I'm going to spin around, shoop, a little shoop, shoop, and we have the other side. So let's do the leg up to the back. Make sure you're centered, and I'm lifting my right leg now, so my weight is heavier on my right hand than my left, so I'm not falling to the left. And looking a bit out. And try to feel that your torso, your core muscles, your abdominal muscles, your back muscles are responding to the movement of the leg to try and keep your torso steady as you move the leg. And that might be very intense or very easy for you. Your breathing is just nice and smooth with the movement. Take our 2 more circles, our 2 more. And the last one. And round and down. Reverse your circle, opening side. And lift to the back. And bring it down. And 2. Up. And keep checking in that your head isn't dropping. You're going to look to the front edge of your mat. 3, 4, and one more 5. And coming back to the child's pose. Stretch out the arms. And lift to the back. And bring it down. And 2. Up. And one more 5. And coming back to the child's pose. Stretch out the arms. And lift to the back. And bring it down. And 2. Up. And one more 5. And coming back to the child's pose. Stretch out the arms. And lift to the back. And bring it down. And 2. Up. And one more 5. And coming back to the child's pose. Stretch out the arms. And lift to the back. And bring it down. And 2. Up. And one more 5. And coming back to the child's pose. Stretch out the arms. And lift to the back. And bring it down. And 2. Up. And one more 5. And coming back to the child's pose. Stretch out the arms. And lift to the back. And bring it down. And 2. Up. And one more 5. And coming back to the child's pose. Stretch out the arms. And lift to the back. And bring it down. And 2. Up. And one more 5. And coming back to the child's pose. Stretch out the arms. And lift to the back. And bring it Round your back. Bring yourself up to kneeling. Let's work on the stretch for the psoas and the hip flexors. So just put one hand on the sacrum, the other hand on your front pelvis, the kind of the palm towards the navel, the fingers towards the pubic bone. And you're going to pelvic tuck. And you're going to arch. And you're going to tuck and arch. So this is again our 12 o'clock and our 6 o'clock and our 12 o'clock and our 6 o'clock. You're going to come into your 12 o'clock. Now, if you're super tight, that might be your limit. And you're going to try to press forward. Keep 12 o'clocking and lunging, lunging, lunging. And going forward. And it's fine not to go very far forward. I'm also going to press down into my front foot and into the heel. So I don't want to collapse anywhere. Keep that tuck. And then you're going to come back and bring your hips straight over your knee, and we're going to round. So you want to try to feel your hips go under, your ribs tuck in, and you round your back. And then you keep trying to press your hip forward, your thigh forward, but you're rounding your whole back. It doesn't look super round, but I'm really trying. I'm trying like crazy. 2 and 1. And slowly uncurl yourself. Switch sides. Here we go. So we're starting pretty much a 90-90 position. Hands here. I'm trying to find that pelvic movement of the tailbone under and arching out. And tailbone under and back. And just 2 more. 2. And last one. Now keep that posterior tilt, that tuck under. Pull in of the low abdominals. Hands to the knee. And start pressing into your front foot, forward, forward, forward. And you can see my back is trying to be really flat. I'm not letting that one happen as I press into my front heel, tucking the tail. Whew. Sounds good for me too. Let's come back, come into the psoas stretch. So the psoas, of course, was part of that one. But now we're going to try and deepen it even more. So I'm rounding. I'm really trying to tuck my butt under. And I'm going to round my upper back too. I'm trying to pull in the front ribs, lift the back ribs, and then try and shift forward for 5 slow seconds, which I found out is actually 10 seconds. But we can do it. 2. And 1 more. Whew. And just come back. You can come down onto your knees. Just take a moment to rest and let your body settle in. And taking a deep breath in. And taking some nice deep calming breaths and breathing the way that feels right for you. It's also just another way to tell our nervous system that it's all okay. We did it. We are alive to tell the tale. Anyway, thanks very much. Have a great day.